Oddity number 9, the new file format. With this new version comes the new field columns and new things like manual scheduling feature. And these impact how things like the summary task works. So understanding there's a new file format is the first step to controlling and understanding how this new version works. But before we get into the oddity with the new file format, let's review some of the compatibility facts in this new version. Yes, MS Project will open and read and let you change and save versions of MS Project 2 file formats back, all the way to MS Project 2000. In fact, it will open up a Project 98 file just fine. It just won't let you save it in that format. Now here's a tip. You can find out the details on the new file format in the Help file. Okay, the Help system is found on the File tab, which is referred to as the Backstage. You, of course, can get to it through the question mark. But I'm going to click it out of the Backstage just to review the Backstage. And I'm going to go to Microsoft Office Help. If you go in the Table of Contents section under File Management, you'll find a Help item on File Formats supported by Project 2010. And clicking on that will take you through a description of all the file formats, what's supported, what's not supported, and what's changed. Reading through this list, I think you'll find the most interesting thing is the MPD database format used by Project for storing entire projects is not available for saving in 2010. The other interesting item I thought was the fact that the XML language is a format that you can import and export project data. That's one of the few file formats in this entire list that you can do that with. That's worth remembering. So it just supports my theory that there's a new database engine under the hood, and hopefully this will help. So let's go back to oddity number 9, and let me go to the Backstage. Okay. The oddity is that while the Help clearly states that these prior versions are supported, the fact of the matter is that out of the box, Project does not allow this functionality. You have to turn on an option and switch to the legacy formats. That switch is in the Backstage. So again, is under the Help tab. And to enable access to prior versions, you have to go to the very bottom project option called Trust Center. And then once we're in Trust Center, we're going to go to Trust Center Settings by clicking the Command button. Now, out of the box, the setting you're going to see is do not open and save files with the legacy or non-default file formats. That's what you're going to see when you first start up MS Project. So what you want to do is you want to come into these Trust Center settings and click the second button, Prompt when loading files with legacy or non-default file formats. Or if you like, you can just go ahead and click the third button, not get a prompt at all. I prefer to be prompted. So in the Legacy Formats section, I'm taking the second button. That now, when I click OK, will enable the use of all the file formats that Project 2010 supports. Now, before I move on to the next oddity in our countdown list, there's one more important trick I need to show you. You can live in a 2007 world. Like I said earlier, one of the things I like about 2010 is that it's incredibly stable. I've seen a lot of corrupted files and blue screens over the years in prior versions, but I've been using this version of Project for over a year, and I haven't seen a corrupted file or a blue screen yet. Some of my project schedules have over 4,000 rows, so this is something special. But because of the manual scheduling option, some users may not be ready for this new complexity. And for those folks out there, there is this option. Well, it's actually a trick. The trick is to change the file save format in Project 2010. And in Project 2010, that's still in the project options in the Save section. Now I'm going to go through this manually in MS Project to show you where this is at. So I start up MS Project. I go to the Backstage. I go to Options. I go to Save. And it looks like everything's nice and the way it should be. Save files in this format. And you see the MPP and you go, yep, that looks good. Well, here's the problem. If you want to take advantage of this trick and you want to live in a 2007 world but still use Microsoft Project 2010, select the second option down, Microsoft Project 2007. In other words, make 2010 run in 2007 mode. This is a nice trick. What this does is turn on something called compatibility mode. Now that I've got this turned on, I'm going to create a simple schedule so you can see what happens. So I'm going to click on the New Schedule button, and I'll just put in a task. And if I let you look at the title, you'll see project's telling me I'm actually in project 2007 mode. That's what's called compatibility mode. It's very subtle. It can be very useful. It's especially very useful if you've got users in your organization that need to move to 2010, but you don't want to see them using 2010, if you know what I mean. The manual scheduling option, you got to really learn about it and get used to it before you just dive in and use it. Well, anyways, this sets the table for some other oddities, and believe it or not, some of my oddities are tied to the manual scheduling feature. So let's move on.